everyone? We are back again for another edition of the Watchpoint Post-Show live from the Blizzard Arena in Los Angeles. I'm your host, Malik Forte, joined at the desk by Zoe, Uber, and Mr. X. And we're here to break down all the action from day 3 of the 2019 Overwatch League season. Man, what a first week has been so far. Zoe, what was your main takeaway from the day?
From today, well, Paris dominated. Right there. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Where's my flag?
I believe there was one person on the desk that didn't select Paris today.
Yeah, how weird. Who was that?
Malik, why would you do that?
I was waving the flag. Thank you very much.
Awful.
Thank you very much. What about you, Uber? Do you have any takeaways from the day?
Tons. I mean, you know, it's interesting to see that London were just not ready to play that tank style. They don't look like themselves when they have to play triple tank, triple support. It's not them. They're going to hate this meta.
Yeah, for sure. You're going to have to adapt or get used to it. You know, what about you, Matt?
For me, it's the post game that we just had, where Bumper kind of says "Hey, we're gonna for all you." I know some dudes from the Shock. You know, Super probably sitting at home watching the stream. He's like, "All right, I see you, fam. Like we're here too." I think that's gonna be an incredible match when those two teams face off.
Yeah, man, that guy Bumper's a spice lord for sure. Man. We need more of that.
Merchant.
Yeah,
he's out there just giving it.
Right, we need more of that in the league. We need more of that. All right, guys, from highlights to deep dives, top plays, and much more, we've got you covered. Plus, don't miss the live Q&A with Stitch from the Overwatch League newcomers, the Vancouver Titans, only with the Overwatch League All Access Pass on Twitch right after Watchpoint. But let's jump right into it. The Vancouver Titans made their debut in the Overwatch League today against the Shanghai Dragons, with both teams looking for their first ever Overwatch League victory. And you know what? When the core of this team won contenders, many said they were, out-level squad and whatnot. And if we're going off what we saw today, that is 100% valid. They were solid.
Yeah, I mean, for a team that he's probably been in the Overwatch League infrastructure for the least amount of time compared to every other team right now, because they actually came here a little bit later than others, had less time to settle here in the States. You could treat it like a pure, Korean contenders roster versus Overwatch League. And I mean, maybe it wasn't the best candidate to send from the Overwatch League in that particular head-to-head, but it was dominant.
Yeah, the Dragons looked a little bit out of sorts in this match. And, they came in and they felt really confident. We spoke to them a little bit earlier, before the season started. They felt great. I think, when you lose Fearless for a little bit of time, you don't have that main tank you've been practicing with, getting those reps. It's hard to just throw somebody like Gamsu right in. And
yeah, 2 days, what are you talking about?
To play a team as talented as Vancouver, it's tough.
It really is, but we still have to say that the Dragons didn't look like completely out of it.
Yeah.
Round 2 on the first map on Busan, they got that round 100% to 0, so it wasn't like they never stood a chance.
By the way, and with Gamsu, presumably not being the #1 main tank for Boston this season, he might not have scrimmed for...
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
He might not have scrimmed for months.
That's true. That's true.
He was their third option.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, even second options don't get a ton of scrim time. I can't imagine the third.
Do you think it's a good idea without the synergy to just throw them out there?
Well, how else are you going to get it?
He eventually has to get used to it. And I mean, frankly, yesterday they had a bit of a, was that yesterday or the day before yesterday? I don't know. But they played a bit of a musical chair scenario there with swapping main tanks in and out. So that doesn't really work if they want Gamsu to be their main tank moving forward.
Right. Well, guys, it is now time to name our player of the match, presented by Omen by HP. And it is...
Drum roll, please. No?
Who is it? Yeah? Who's our player of the match?
I'm talking about.
Drum roll. More drum roll.
More drum roll. I'm actually
the
shaking.
player of the match?
There you go.
Such suspense.
There's so much suspense here.
Oh.
Bumper! Bumper is our player of the match. I was waiting for it. I mean, he talked a big game, and he came and he delivered.
I mean, look, the incredibly aggressive style. He's backed up by an insane D.Va player. Johnny is incredible. I think Gamsu kind of wanted to play similarly on Shanghai, but maybe
it looked that way, didn't it?
Yeah,
it really looked like he tried to emulate the aggression from Bumper, and it just didn't work out because his team was not anywhere near where he actually ended up being.
It's just the synergy that maybe they don't have, but I could see Gamsu just looking out the window like, oh man, I wish I was doing this. I want to go to Disneyland too.
He had a montage full of shatters during this game.
Yes, very nasty.
Yeah, it's like if anyone's looking for some highlights of Bumper, just take a few of the Twitch clips from this one. Throw them out there. I mean, they're that good.
26 Earth Shatter stuns. That's Earth Shattering right there. Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, we've actually seen a bunch of great main tank play today in general. We've been really lucky, especially and D.Va play while I'm at it. But to secure so many of these Earth Shatters, to set up some of these fights, it's not always easy to do. It's even harder now when you can't just have your Brig walk up to the enemy Ryan and just shield bash him. You need to be a little more finessed around setting them up.
Right.
But these players are still finding a way to get it done.
Right. Well, guys, that was our player of the match, presented by Omen by HP. Give it up for Bumper, everybody. He did a great job. Now, let's switch gears to the biggest match of the day, a potential rivalry being born in front of our eyes. For the first time in the Overwatch League, two teams representing the European region faced off with the London Spitfire taking on the Paris Eternal. And gotta say, man, this match, super exciting. The Spitfire are trying to avoid an 0-2 skid, and they looked a little disoriented at the top of this game. Is it safe to say that they're in a bit of a sophomore slump?
I just don't think this is a great meta for the London Spitfire.
Yeah.
I don't really think, they've locked down. Obviously they know how to play 3 tanks, 3 supports. I just don't think it's what they want to do. I don't think it's ideal for their players. When you think about the London Spitfire and why they're so good, it's because you have some of the best players mechanically and individual skill at their positions. And with a triple tank, triple support comp, it becomes a lot about just teamwork and coordination. And some of that kind of goes out the window. I think they would much rather, be in a meta where you see the Widowmaker and the Genji back in play.
I would say that they integrated Guard very well. He's clearly an excellent Sombra player. It might just be a matter of him having to step up on a couple of those roles and spread his influence over the roster more. Nuss had an excellent game. I really thought on that Lucio role he looked good. Again, it was definitely an issue of Birdring not shining. The Birdring that we saw, at our season finals last year, maybe still trying to find his way back. I questioned it. I said, who's going to be, the bigger Zarya? I said Soon might even have problems on the Zarya, but he didn't. He was dominant. Whereas Birdring, again, a little bit quiet.
I don't want to take anything away from Paris. I thought they were phenomenal for their first game coming out here and showing everybody what they're made of.
Dude, Paris came out with fire. I mean, those guys got some passion to them, right? They come on the stage, they're loud. Cruz talking a little smack with the pre-game video. Those guys want it bad, man. I like this Paris.
They just seem like one player with 6 arms. They seemed incredibly united when I got out there. They really knew what they were out there to do and how they were going to play it. So
They're just all so very familiar with this meta.
Yeah.
And every single player of them is comfortable with it too. I don't think any one of them is not okay with playing the role they're playing. And I think that's the big difference. I don't feel like the usual DPS players from the London side of things are very happy being forced into roles they're not familiar
now,
with.
if there's a team that sort of forces them away from playing a solid triple tank, triple support composition, then maybe we'll see them, have to scrabble to find a response. But I mean, if you can't force them off there, then they're just going to do what they're good at and win.
Teams better start racking up these wins on London early.
That's
when this turns around, it ain't going to be pretty for some of those teams at the end.
They're always a bit of a roller coaster with their seasons. You know how they go. So we saw a lot of Ben Best and Soon's tank combos together in this match. Was it everything that you wished it would be and more?
Oh, way more, actually.
Really?
I was super happy to see the performance. Map 1 was complete domination from the tank side of this Paris squad. I mean, Ben Best completely, and I already say, completely outplayed Gesture. He was on top of things on Ilias. Gesture had 0 shatters built up and not a single primal kill. None. He had 0 elims in the end, whereas Ben Best walked away with 7. So that's quite a bit of a
map,
difference.
right?
That was just on Ilias. Granted, they got a little bit more even towards the end, but that is when the Zaryas really stepped in. Soon, as you already mentioned, completely outplayed Birdring. Birdring just couldn't make it work on that Zarya, and I feel like London started to look a little bit better once they started to swap Guard onto the Sombra and had Fury on the Zarya. I felt like that looked a little bit more like their comfort zone, but here, look at those statistics. Soon was just so much ahead. Look at the average energy. So much more damage coming out of Soon's Zarya there with those 56%.
Yes, indeed. He definitely got the best of Birdring in this match, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Birdring stats and stuff are going to be tied to the main tank play.
Yeah.
When your main tank's just getting chunked down and you're not really generating a ton of energy off of that, like you're not able to put down some damage. Right? I think what you saw when they put in Guard was that they felt better not playing 3 tanks, 3 supports. They felt their best option was to run the Sombra, try and get hacks constantly on the enemy Rhine, try and get hacks on the supports, big EMPs. That's what they thought their best course of action was, which I thought they looked really good when they had Guard in.
I mean, yes, that is when they were the most effective. So you got to give it up for them for that. Well, guys, we're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere because coming up, we take a look at the former NYXL coach Wizard Young and his Washington Justice and how they fared against his old team, the NYXL.
I can't wait.
This
I can't wait.
is Watchpoint.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.
The main tank role faced off today, and it looks like Mono of the NYXL got the better of this one.
Really?
Yes, definitely. Guys, welcome back to the Watchpoint Post Show. Once again, I'm your host, Malik Forte. And speaking of the former NYXL personnel, Coach Wizard Young had a lot to say about his new team, the Washington Justice, earlier in the day. But how would they stack up against his old squad? Not so great. It was actually a pretty tough match for these guys. The Justice, they were looking to kick off their season with a win over the powerhouse NYXL, but New York came out and let the Justice know very early how tough it can be in these Overwatch League streets.
I mean, like, he's not really wrong based on what he said. He's like, yeah, we've got a new start. We've got to come up with something new. Obviously, Washington have a really rough schedule over these first 4 weeks. And,
yeah.
Like, how much can you, like, let's hope they learn a lot because they're going to have to, right? Like, they're really going into one powerhouse team after another. But now that we know that the expansion teams are looking so strong, then is any team going to be easy for them?
No, I think Zoe said it earlier when we were talking about it. Like, just get these matches out of the way.
Yeah.
Like, when you have these tough ones and you're Washington and, you know, you need to get the stage experience. You need to play against some of the top teams. So there's a lot you need to work on that you can only work on playing the games on the stage here in the arena. I think you need to get some of these tough games, like you mentioned, out of the way early.
Yeah, I mean, again, trial by fire, right? Once those are out of the way, those guys should be very well familiar with how it feels to lose on that stage and how to prepare for our next match coming into that. And you're smiling, but I mean it. Like, that's super important.
I just always smile.
You need to be okay with losing
set.
matches on this very stage. And if it happens against such a strong team,
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to take it as hard. You know what I mean?
They looked good on Horizon.
Yeah.
They were not bad on Horizon.
Conversely, New York have a pretty poor record on that map.
How do you build on a staggering loss where you don't really get to play your game? Is there a way you can build on something like this? You know, something some would consider a blowout.
Yeah, because I think the catalysts for a lot of Washington Justice's lost fights were really easy to identify. I actually think that a lot of their struggles can be distilled down to moments where, for example, Janus was out of position, or, you know, Guido was getting picked off, or maybe, you know, that Lucio wasn't set up in a good position to give a speed boost when it was required. So I actually don't think this will be too hard for them to go back over and identify where the issues were. I mean, this is brutal, though.
You know, New York just looked like they were playing way faster than Washington, and Washington was just always reacting on the back foot. Like, and you saw it with Vancouver, right? They were the aggressors. They played really fast against Shanghai. Shanghai could not react. I think you need to see a few weeks before Washington can become that aggressive team.
That Rialto map, just one thing, Washington didn't want to engage on defense at all. They just kept jockeying back and just holding onto the S key. And by the time they actually tried to fight, they were already in the choke point of that first checkpoint and lost there. So they were definitely a little bit rattled by that point.
Yeah, they got to get acclimated with the game speed because it's a lot faster here. It's just a lot faster with these top tier teams. All right, guys, but there was a lot of green and a lot of pink in the crowd today as the hometown heroes, the Los Angeles Valiant, took on the Honjo Spark and an intense back and forth match that would end up going all the way to game 5. And I got to say, this was by far the closest game of the day. Both of these teams are looking great in week one.
This was the hardest match for me. I would love to know what the rest of you guys think about this. To just gauge on like what do you learn from a team from a match? Because I didn't really know what to expect from the Valiant. I was quite impressed with them, but then also, the Spark looked really strong as well. Like I can't gauge if I saw two really good teams play.
I learned to keep your shield up and block shadows.
Yeah.
That's what I learned.
Teams in the middle of the
yeah. My biggest takeaway from the Valiant side of things was why are they trying so hard to force a Winston's 3-3 composition? They kept on starting on it with like a very few exceptions. And Fate was always, and I have to repeat this, always forced to switch onto the Reinhardt to actually make it competitive, because every time he started off on a Winston, they lost.
Yeah, it's got a lot to do with Bazzi and Rhea being very good with the peel. I think it has a lot to do. There is actually a reason why you want to play Winston over Ryan Goats, but in this case, it might actually be a case of, Fate just wanted to get aggressive, just to be there in the fight. Look, it was a close match. It went to, that map 5, and I really think that No Smite pulled away from Fate in that last map especially. He looked just incredibly good. There was a couple of situations where Fate was just bunny hopping. He bunny hopped one point ever so slightly, and it was a shadow that came straight under his shield. We might even get to see that here, but all throughout the series, these teams played each other close. So if I'm either team, I'm actually happy with this.
This is like not a loss that you feel super bad about.
No, absolutely not. And can we talk about Izayaki?
It looks fantastic.
Dude's a beast.
Oh my goodness.
It's not even just the stats. If you actually compare the stats head to head, he didn't really go ahead in the stats so much. It was more of when he did those big plays. He saved his team so often, I had to stop counting when we said in the back of the room, like, oh, and the team stayed alive because of Izayaki.
Also, he had a lot more damage amplified as a result of Discord Orb. So he was very efficient in applying those, but you can see this is, a bit of No Smite action there on that montage. Fantastic last couple of maps. He really broke the Valiant's back on Shrine to end the pool. But I loved this match. I thought it was fantastic. We saw some great play from both teams. And I was, a little bit concerned about the Valiant, even though I, picked them to win this game. But, where's my boy Custer? That's one question. But outside of that, I'm pretty happy.
I figured you would get that one in.
Bro, I'm heated. I'm heated.
Rightfully so, man. Well, speaking of the Spark, they're in the arena right now doing a signing. So shouts out to them. Give it up for the Spark, and we've got our top moments of the day coming up right after this. So stay with us. This is the Watchpoint Post Show.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Post Show. It's time now to give props to the most memorable moments of the day. And we got quite a few, actually. So let's go ahead and get into our first one. Atlanta's the friend.
Look at
Oh,
that.
no. These are the walkouts. This was really cool, guys. This reminded me of like a...
The baguettes.
the
Being
grand final.
in Paris.
Well, no, this reminded me of the grand finals last year when we had all the wristbands and it was like the whole arena was lit up. It was cool seeing
Right,
that
it's so
done once
whimsical.
again.
And also their sort of slogan, Fiat Lux, means let there be light. So I kind of like, that ties into them a lot. It's just such a cool walkout.
It's super cool because they won. If they didn't win, it's all right. But no,
Wow,
it looks
no
awesome.
shade. Why you gotta beat us?
What?
Bro.
Right.
You gotta win the game.
All right, so moving on, there's this crazy 5K barrage by Profit. We got to give him props for this one. Also, honorable mention has to go to Fury on this because he had a crazy hack that made this one possible.
Oh, you can see how many people hacked there.
Yeah.
3 players hacked.
What's up with Profit on Volskaya with these highlight plays? Remember grand finals?
Only
yeah.
a point day.
Killing everybody.
That's where he
You hear,
gets to
killing
make it work.
everybody.
I love the sound of the damage. It's just like music to my ears.
But then ticks.
The tick.
Yo, you
Yeah.
actually,
Oh, yeah, the ticks are great.
if you're playing on the PCC, you actually get double the ticks because the
Yeah.
rate's like crazy high. So if you're playing like Winston or Ana, it's like constantly. Very
Feels good.
satisfying.
I wouldn't know that. I'm a console player.
Hey,
Oh,
hey,
and also,
hey.
Reinforce coming back into the game. Yo, we were demonstrating to people how to play the 3-3 tank meta, and we used the best tank that we know
Yeah, what a
to help us
coincidence
explain.
that he just happened
Is
to
he the
be
best
there.
tank we
I know, right?
We know all the people in Overwatch League. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean-
Johnny the best tank.
We also found out so he could be a
Johnny-
bit of a toxic player at times.
Yeah, I love
Excuse me?
the staunching. I was loving the staunching.
And of course, there was this great Diva Bomb by Mono.
That's so filthy.
Yeah. Just a great combo by Mono and Meko right there.
That is so killer.
They're just such a wonderful tag duo.
The worst part is
Name
there's
it better.
nothing Washington can even do. They're all just laying on the ground.
I wonder if they even spoke to each other on this. I wonder if they like telepathically communicated
I think
this
they
whole
just
thing
know at
together.
this point.
Yeah.
They feel it.
It's anything
They're
like my
ready to
ranked games. They were
communicate.
definitely speaking to each other in a very aggressive manner. Oh, okay.
And also, there was a baguette situation that
I
happened
mean,
here.
look, if you're sat in the stands, you're watching your favorite team, you don't have time
Hey.
to get to concessions.
Okay.
All right.
But wait,
Calm up, fam.
there's like more than one person eating a baguette
Okay,
though.
I
that
want to
is-
say we have some
Oh wait, it's not the
eaters in
same
audience.
baguette.
It's like Chengdu's water bottle. It's a communal baguette as well. You know, everyone's
Oh, yeah.
getting into the style of sharing.
Sharing is caring, my friend.
Look,
There are
I have-
sometimes.
I have thoughts about that.
That's how the flute gets around though. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
This is.
I wonder
don't know how
if
to feel
she.
about
Oh,
that.
this is how you strengthen your immune system.
How many people
Yeah.
ate
This
part
is
of this
how it works.
baguette?
We have a really, we are a rare breed of fans. Overwatch
This is not
fans.
like a replay, like a
This baguette
like-
keeps on
yeah.
giving. How is that still a thing? Like, there is so
What I
many
want to
bites
know is
taken
like,
off
what
already.
is the thought when you're like the 20th person to get the baguette? Like,
We don't know if
and
it's
you're
the same
totally
baguette.
cool with like, oh yeah, sure, I'll eat the baguette.
Either you're just doing it for the theatrics. You got to get into it at the moment.
I like how hyped everybody was. Their hands were going up so fast. Like, my turn. Give me some baguette.
Yeah,
now.
I freak out when I buy stuff from the grocery store and like it's kind of like.
Yeah, but you're a
maybe
Someone
else may have
somebody,
touched it.
Yeah, maybe somebody touched that.
You are a
Like, yeah,
hypochondriac in all fairness.
No,
though.
that's
Like,
true.
you are
That's
a
true.
clean freak.
I would have not.
I'm
had
with
any
you
of
on that.
that
I'm a bit of a
baguette.
germaphobe. I'm with you on that one, man. I hope everybody takes a lot of
Sanitize,
medicine.
yeah.
Yeah, sanitize. Let's bring that back.
Yeah,
All right,
vitamin
guys.
C, all that.
Atlanta's the friend had his share of big moments in his debut yesterday, and we had a chance to sit down with the Reign's new star to discuss his transition from streaming sensation to the Overwatch League.
There's one guy we need to mention. It's DeFran, a very well-known streamer, amazing mechanics.
My name is Dan Francesca, the brand. I'm 25 years old. My role is GPS. I'm from Denmark. I'm actually very proud to represent Denmark. I hope there become more Danish players in the Overwatch League because I think there's a lot of talented people. I signed the contract, I was very happy. Then I started feeling a bit down. I had a bad day. Then I was like, I don't want to do this. So I wrote on the Twitter, I'm out, dude. The next day I woke up and felt good. Then I came back. Before, when I was flipping burgers, I never imagined that I would be here. And it's great. I'm looking forward to playing against Cape. I think he's really good. Being in Atlanta, being in the pro team comes before streaming. I'm very committed. Transitioning from streaming to playing on stage, I'm not nervous now. I think it's gonna be fine. But when I'm gonna be walking on stage, I think it will hit me there.
That was just a quick glimpse, but you can check out the full feature on DeFran tomorrow during the Watchpoint pre-show at 11:30 a.m. Pacific. And speaking of tomorrow, we got another stacked day of matches coming on the last day of week 1. Man, I gotta say, with another day coming up, there's a lot of amazing action. And let's go down the line and start with you, Zoe. What are you looking out for tomorrow? What's your thing that's standing out to you the most on that schedule?
It has to be the Game of Rain. I want to see the Fran do it again, and this
Yeah.
time against Carpe. That's actually getting me so hyped. I think it's one, if not the hardest to predict, which we have tomorrow. I personally still don't entirely know if we're going to pick Atlanta again, but it's a very likely likely thing. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
think so,
like,
yeah.
it's gotta be
I gotta
spicy.
stick with them. I took them once. I gotta take them twice.
I'm really looking forward to Seoul versus Dallas, actually. This is actually like an old rivalry from season 1, when everyone thought that those two teams would actually sit firmly atop of the standard.
That one goes back to
Obviously,
Apex,
The
right?
power rankings are never really accurate. It does. To a degree, it does. Obviously, the old Lunatic High, old MV squad. But recently, like, those MV players are sort of seeing less play in general.
Right.
I do want to see how these teams are sort of shaking up. Seoul look like they're on the up. Dallas, well, I mean, we need to see them, you know, really perform. It's going to be about the flex DPS players, right? Michelle, fantastic Sombra. You really delivered. Dallas need to get more value out of AKM in that similar role as well on some of those maps.
What about you, Matt?
You know, I like both of those matches a lot, and I think it's tough for a team to potentially come out and start 0-2. That's why I'm really worried about the Gladiators tomorrow, going up against the Shock. The Shock have come out this season, like, looking really strong. They don't want to have any slip-ups. And if you're the Gladiators, you don't want to get off to that 0-2 start, right? I mean, it's really tough with not as many games as last year. I think it's almost like a must-win game early on in Stage 1.
And those two have no pape on each other. They haven't scrimmed at all, so they'll be going in blind to one another.
Right. I think I'll have to join in with Zoe on that matchup between Atlanta and Philly tomorrow. I'm definitely looking forward to that matchup between DeFran and Carpe. I think
said he
that's
wanted
going
it.
to be nuts. It's going to be crazy. Well, guys, that's going to be all for us. We'll be back tomorrow to recap everything that happened during Day 4 of the 2019 Overwatch League. And don't forget, the Q&A with Stitch from the Vancouver Titans is coming up next, only with the Overwatch League All Access Pass on Twitch. We'll see you guys all tomorrow.